What's going on, everybody? Doc Remedy. I hate long intros, so I'm just going to really get into it. People often ask me how I set up my buses and my routing when I start a song. So before I even start mixing anything, when something is handed to me, I get everything all bussed out. I got this track here, produced by OCR Beats, by an artist named Drastic. It's called Part of My Cleave. So I got this here, and the first thing I want to do is I have all my drum stems right here. I have my kicks, snares, shakers, hats, crash, open hi-hats. So what I'm going to do is I select them all. I'm going to right click them and go to add bus for selected channels. And what I have here now is I have my drum bus. So although I can edit these individually, I could add all my inserts, my EQ, effects, whatever I want on the individual channels. But this allows me to control the drums as a whole. So I could solo out just the drums, or I can mute out just the drums if I wanted. So that's what busing is about. It's about taking signals that are very similar to each other, going to be processed the same way, or you want to control everything as a group with volume automation or with solo and muting. So that is that. So we're going to just do the same thing. This is a pretty simple beat here. We're going to create a bus for the bass, even though the bass is only one track anyways. I just like all my instrument buses to be right next to each other so they're easy to look at and read. And I don't know if there's multiple samples here and he only has it all routed through one, or if it really is just one. Either way, it sounds good. I'm just going to create my sample bus. We're going to rename this bass bus. So that is that. So now I have my bass bus, drum bus, and my sample bus. Now I'm going to select these three, and I'm going to create add bus for selected channels. And then this is my instrumental bus. So now when I have the song playing, not only can I solo out, this is just the sample, this is just the bass, and this is just the drums. If I wanted to, I can look at them and I can mix it a little easier visually as well as audibly hearing it because I have all my meters here. Then I have my instrumental, my main instrumental bus right here. So we're going to do the same thing with the vocals. And the reason we do that is because, one, it'll save on processing power, so you're not adding the same signal chain to like 3 sets of vocals in a row. You just bus them into one and then add your signal chain to that. So I'm going to create here a hook bus. I'm going to show you this process. It makes everything really easy. And then here I have my verses. You know what, we'll move these up here because technically verse, dubs, ad-libs, we don't need any of these layers. They don't need to be separated. They can be, but it doesn't matter. So here, we're going to create, we'll call it the verse bus. All the verses. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to, just to make it easier for everyone, I'm going to color these. These are the stems for my instrumental into buses. Then here's my main instrumental. This is just instrumental bus. Now I have my verse and my hook. The reason I create different buses for these, although, like I said, I could process them all individually with whatever I want to, I have an automated volume gauge that I can look at when I'm looking at the verses and the hooks together. So I could adjust the volumes of the verse and hooks much easier to make them match each other when transitioning between the two better. So now what I'm going to do, I have my verses and my hooks, buses, and I'm going to create a new bus that I call acapella. Now, I put my acapella, you can put it wherever you want, but I personally put it right next to my instrumental. So now I have my acapella and my instrumental. So if I'm ever playing a song, or the client needs the instrumental version after I mix it down, or the acapella version, I could literally just, oh, let's unmute all these. Let's unmute all this before I do that, huh? I can literally just have the acapella of the song.
Every day we would shoot, riding bikes through the neighborhood.
Or the instrumental of the song simply by just clicking solo, which is really cool. I just kind of set myself up for that for the future, so if I ever need it. So there's that. That's pretty simple. And another thing I usually do is, here I have my acapella and my instrumental bus. So essentially I'm kind of like, I have 2 tracks. I have all my vocals and my instrumental, which is good when someone's printing something to vinyl also, and you're creating the studio stereo track mix, the instrumental version, and the acapella version. It's just easy to solo them out. But what I also do is I take these twos, the 2-track version of the song, and I create one more bus for them, and I call this the master bus. And there's a reason I do this. Although we have our main output right here of audio, what the master bus is going to do is if I throw anything on the master bus, any inserts like compression, EQ, or anything else, ultimately it is going to affect the overall volume and output level of it. So I like to have this here so that my main output is a true representation to the final output volume.
To hit up Randall Mall for an arcade game. 8 quarters to my name when NBA Jam came.
How I set everything up. So I bus all my instruments to go into my instrumental bus. I bus like groups of vocals to go into an acapella bus. Then I have my acapella and instrumental going into a master bus. It's pretty simple. That's how I set up just about every session. And hopefully that was helpful for you.
To hit up Randall Mall for an arcade game. 8 quarters to my name when NBA Jam came.
So yeah, peace. I completely forgot to say that you should click subscribe. You should follow me on social media. If there's any other videos or tutorials that you want from me or questions you have that I could put into a video tutorial form, let me know, and maybe I'll craft that one next. Until next time, Doc Remedy. Peace.